Hi, colleagues. How are you? How are you feeling? Um, I hope you're doing well. Today, with kids, it was interesting. I talked about one thing with kids, another thing with parents, and I'm going to talk with you about something else, but they're all kind of connected. Um, what I talked with kids about um, was really, I love getting these text messages. I don't know why oopsie. I do have my phone sort of on silent, but not my computer. Sorry. So anyway, I, what I was talking to kids about was the importance to like read in this what Calkins always has said and taught me, this wide awake way. And I just finished a great book. What is it? Oh, City of Girls by Gilbert. I can't remember her first name, which I should know. She wrote Eat, Love, Pray, or Eat, Pray, Love, or something. Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah. Great book, by the way, City of Girls. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but I think it's much better than I realized. Anyway, I, uh, there were some places in that book that if you blinked, you miss a lot. You miss like a really pivotal line. And I was just thinking about that as I think about that with kids, is that, there are things that we can teach them to pay attention to, but a good friend of mine, the most avid reader I know, used to say every single thing is important in a text. And I do believe that is true. However, there are some things we want to be on about pretty early on. And that's one thing I shared with parents is like, I want kids to be wide awake, especially in a turning point, and especially when feelings are outward. If a character is crying, those are feelings that are outward. And if you're not paying attention to that, like, that's a problem, right? Like that is something that's physical that the writer is doing to show you, like, this is serious. Pay attention. What's going on here with the character? So I want to get back to that in a minute, but then I was also sharing with parents, like a lot of times when that moment of real truth happens, like real something that you really want to pay attention to. Sometimes characters might be like, okay, this character's crying, but they don't know why. And that's because maybe they weren't really paying attention in the first chapter or the third chapter, and now we're on the sixth chapter. And if we didn't really pay attention in the first chapter, how are we going to know the significance of this crying in the sixth chapter? So I really shared with parents the importance of reading the back of a book. I'm reading this book. I have never read it. I love Judy Blume. Many of you know that Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was like the book that changed my life as a kid. But I've always wanted to read this. You also, those of you that know me, know that I've always struggled with weight. And so I'm really interested in this, and I'm doing this, girls club, and, the idea of appearance is such a big deal for girls and women in society. We talk about that. So I think this is going to be a really interesting book that they picked. I threw it out there, but I was really pleasantly surprised that all five of them, this was their number one choice. But I shared with the parents, like, reading the back of the book gives you so much information about who's in the story and what does the character want. What is the issue? What is the thing that's like, and you better not even delve in the book if you're not paying attention to that. Like, these girls read the back, they read the synopsis, they know what's coming up. And, they're good students. They're really good readers, so it's a little different, but we can certainly give kids the tools to pay attention to these things right from the get-go. The other thing I was thinking about, something happened to me recently. I was walking with a really dear friend that I've known since I was 14, 15 years old, high school friend. And I was sharing with her something that was difficult that happened in my childhood, and I don't know about you all, but I've been having kick butt therapy sessions during this quarantine. So, if nothing else, we can just think about our childhood and make us even sadder than what we are. Anyway, not true. I truly believe in therapy and think it's really powerful. But I will say that I've been doing some like hard work, and it's a good time to do the hard work. But I was sharing it a little bit with this friend, and she wasn't comfortable with it at all, not even a little bit. And she changed the subject like that. And, I wonder sometimes, like, I think it's so complicated. I think this is such an amazing thing that Mark Brackett is doing in this book, Permission to Feel, but I think it is such a layered, complicated thing to be there, to empathize, to hold someone's hand, to be vulnerable, to be open, to share your feelings with someone. Um, I think it is very, very, very complicated. And um, I think that through reading and through paying attention to the way that Jenny's feeling in Boar out there, when she and the boar see each other, and she is, Jenny matched his silence, and her body was rigid, but not her eyes. They traveled along his scarred, bristling back to his thick hind legs. Tears spilling and flooding her face, Jenny stared at the boar's ragged ears, caked with blood. Her tears dropped to the leaves, and the only sound between them was slow breathing. Like, one way we can get kids to pay attention to themselves and to others is to start by paying attention to books, because we know that they've got to see layers in the books. And we know that if we want them to do well on tests, they've got to pay attention to these things in books, and they can't ignore them. But bigger than that, in life, they need to pay attention to themselves, and they need to pay attention to the people that they love. They're hurting. They need help. They need support. So anyway, colleagues, I'm going to take a 2-week hiatus. I'm traveling back to the Northeast next week. I'm have very mixed feelings about it. Not happy at all about leaving my daughter, although I know that she is doing everything that she's supposed to do to take care of herself. So I trust that. But I need to get back to my apartment, back to my kitty cat, and get back to the mail that's piling up there. And I'm going to be happy to be back there. And I'm going to do some writing. I'm going to do some PD. I'm excited about that. I mean, I'll do it from my apartment, but it's happening. So if I'll be working, I'm hoping to be working with Waikamaco. So if you're watching this from Waikamaco, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I can't wait. And anyone else that's interested in virtual PD, please reach out to me. And then we'll see. I'm going to do some writing as well when I get home. So I'm very, very, very interested in this work around feelings. Anyway, I love you. I miss you. Take care of you. We'll talk soon.